Welcome to the Gentle class today. Our theme this week is sound and vibration. And sound has been used for thousands of years, as far as we know, possibly longer, to create different effects on the nervous system. They didn't know what was happening, why the science behind it, but we're now starting to see more and more how much vibration and in particular sound that we make, but certainly sounds that we hear can affect the brain waves. There's music that has brain wave entrainment, so it changes the waves of your brain into more relaxed states from listening. But the vibration in the body itself, our vocal cords vibrate when we make sound. They don't vibrate when we whisper, or that kind of blow or whisper. Our vocal cords don't vibrate, but they vibrate when we make vocal sounds, so sounds that have a vocal element to them, a voicing. And when our vocal cords vibrate, our vagus nerve again, we've been looking at this all session long. When we stimulate the vagus nerve, it calms the system. Vibrating the vocal cords in particular ways, not just yelling, screaming, and shouting, but vibrating the vocal cords in particular ways that are sort of rhythmic or longer lasting, I would say, waves, then it sends this message again to the brain through the vagus nerve that we should calm, we should settle. So we're going to work on 3 different sounds today, and these 3 sounds actually combine to make one sound, but we're going to take them apart and make all 3 sounds separately. And we'll start by making those sounds and kind of checking in and noticing, any effect we have on the body. Now, we're just going to do a little bit today, so you may not really feel much difference at all, but these are tools that when you use them over and over again, they can have quite a calming and a very profound effect on your nervous system. So be comfortable, sit in a chair, sit on the floor, whatever you like. You can stand if you like to do this. The main thing is that your spine is erect and that you are comfortable. So I'm going to get myself set up on the ground. You be however you want to be, however you're comfortable, and I'll see you there. All right, so however you are, whether you're sitting or standing, make any adjustments you need to be comfortable. If you're sitting on the floor, your legs can be stretched out or you can be on a chair. It really doesn't matter for this. So as we go through the weeks of this session, we'll be building on the things that we've learned before. So we worked a few weeks ago with grounding. So let's start there, feeling the earth or whatever is beneath you, making contact with your body. So bringing in that felt sense and noticing where you make contact with the ground. You can choose what you want to do with your eyes. So if you want to keep your eyes open, you can keep your eyes open. You might maybe glance away from the screen even. And make sure that you're not in a tunnel vision, so you can also be aware of what's around you in the periphery. And eyes closed is also a lovely option. So whatever feels most comfortable for you. So grounding, felt sense, orienting. So where are we looking? Or eyes closed. And you might tune into your breath for a moment. Notice if you're holding any tension around the chest or the belly. And if it helps you to relax, you could bring one hand to the chest, one to the belly in one of the holds that we looked at last week. So as I mentioned, we'll work with 3 different sounds today, and the sounds The first one is ah. And when you make the sound ah, you want to open your mouth, drop your jaw, relax your jaw. And we'll make the sound as long as the breath is easy. So if you feel like you're straining with your breath, just stop the ah sound and breathe in again. The same thing with the second sound, which we'll make, which is oo, with the lips in a sort of O shape. And the third sound that we'll make, which is with the mouth closed. So the sounds are going from most open, the ah sound, the oo sound, where the mouth gets a little more closed, and the sound with the mouth closed. And we'll start with the ah sound. So we'll do this each sound 3 times. We'll pause in between just to notice what is present before going on to the next one. So each one 3 times. When you run out of breath, take another breath and continue making the ah sound. And if if your breath is shorter than mine, perhaps you might do 4, or if it's longer, you might only do 2, but in around that 3 mark. So when you're ready, breathing in. Again. One more. So now pause and notice anything that you're aware of. It might be very subtle, it might be profound, it might be nothing whatsoever. And that's also noticing. So we'll make the next sound, which is oo, and same thing, roughly 3 times. I'll do 3, do however many come out in your breath rhythm. Don't worry about the note. If if the note that I'm on matches where you want to be, you can make the same note, or you can make any note. Excuse me. And I want to say it doesn't matter if you don't think you have a good voice, or you waver or crackle. None of that matters. You just want to vibrate your vocal cords with your mouth in different positions. It's actually the same vibration in your vocal cords. It's just how much resonates in different places where depending how your mouth is. So same sound this time, or same, it's actually an ah, but when we bring the lips in a little bit, it makes an oo sound. So we'll do that. Breathing in. Again, pause, notice what you're aware of now. Notice how it feels around your mouth, your throat, your face. And if you ever feel a little lightheaded as we're doing this, you might just stop the sounding for a moment, maybe even hold the breath briefly. So that lightheadedness is usually a sign of more oxygen than you need. So just breathing normally again, we'll return that balance quite quickly. So the third sound is so the lips are closed and we're just pushing air, vibrating the vocal cords with the sound So again, 3 times or however many times in your rhythm. Once again, pause and notice. Right, and then we'll add a little bit of movement. So we'll do a little bit of movement. We've been sitting for a while, so we won't stay here too much longer, but warm up the wrists, the neck, shoulders, and a little bit the spine to start out with. So taking a breath in, find a little lift in the heart, arch your back a little, and then exhale and round. So the pelvis is tilting, the whole spine is moving along with it. You can coordinate your breath if you like. So you're inhaling as you arch and rounding as you exhale. And then you might add in just that very soft humming on your exhale if that feels right for you. So your inhale, you're just breathing in normally. Your exhale, if you like, you can hum. Great, and then come up to a seated position. Just letting go of the sounding for a moment. We'll work with the shoulders and the neck a little bit. You can take your head to one side and then make a little half circle coming across the front of your chest. Coming up to the other side and really honoring your neck. So certainly if it feels tight, moving into a feeling of gentle stretch, but if it feels painful, working within a range that's most comfortable. Right, coming back to the center, you can gently let one ear release toward one shoulder without lifting that shoulder, and then back to center, and letting the other ear release to the other shoulder, back to center. So you can go side to side. If it feels good for you and your neck is happy to stay for a few breaths, you might stay for a few breaths, 1 or 2 breaths or more on each side. Maybe a moment more here with this, or you can go back to the half circles. So tune into what your neck would enjoy. For another moment here. Great, and then just let the body, wiggle side to side. Let the head go. The spine, creating this snake-like movement up the spine. Try not to let your head flop from side to side, but keep control. Just finding some flow in your body. If you want to turn that into a little bit of a circular movement, you can do that. And at some point, you might switch directions if you're circling. Exploring a little bit of movement here. All right, and then let's come back to the center. And we'll circle the wrists. So you can circle with your hands open, or you can try with your hands in gentle fists. See what gives you the most feeling of stretch and mobility. You can even try tucking your thumbs inside and moving slowly here. Can intensify the stretch across the top of the hand and the thumb joint. So just exploring, see what feels like a nice stretch, not too much, not too little. Great. And then you can open the hands if you've brought them together, wiggle your fingers, maybe give them a shake. Great. So just give the hands a little more of a shake. Just kind of shake up some energy there. And then bring your hands to rest on your legs. And you might feel some tingling in your hands. So feel blood flow and feel energy flow. You may feel a little expansive, a little bit sort of open. So notice what you feel. Just imagine when we're making sound, when we're making those long sounds and the vocal cords are almost shaking like that, it gives it can give that same kind of openness in the vibration of the throat and that same kind of expansive feeling. But as I said, the most important piece of what we're doing today is that stimulation of the vagus nerve through that movement. But you may also notice, for some of us, we feel tight when we make sound because there's a lot of emotion tied up in making sound. A lot of us feel very self-conscious about our voices and all of that. So all of that comes into play here, right? And maybe already today you've been maybe reluctant to make some sound, or maybe there's someone who might hear you and that feels a little self-conscious. So all of that comes into play. Welcome all of it, the feelings, the physical feelings and sensations, the emotions that may arise, the thoughts that you may have about this. Just let it all come and let it all be. So if you've been sitting cross-legged like me and you want to stretch your legs out before you come to all fours, go ahead and give them a stretch. Maybe if you're sitting on a chair, you can just stretch them out and give them a shake. Good, and then we're going to make our way onto hands and knees. So all the usual suggestions, if you need more padding under your knees, to use a blanket, or you can double up your mat and you might roll up the end of your mat or come onto fists if your wrists need a little extra support. And then shoulders are drawing back, elbows stay soft. So there's real tendency here to lock the elbows and kind of dump the shoulders. You want to press down into the hands, slightly draw the elbows back toward your legs, shoulders drawing back towards your hips. And then as you gently lift the head, only lifting so that it feels the head is in line with your spine, so you're not cranking it back. And then let your tailbone tuck under, let the spine round, and let your head come down. Tucking the chin in. And then reverse. You can think about your tailbone starting the movement, your spine uncurling, and the head extending through the crown. Shoulders back, elbows soft. Continue at your own pace. So you might have a faster or slower pace, moving in the way that feels right for you. Great. And then if you want to vary the movement a little bit, maybe wag your tail a bit from side to side. Another option would be to draw the hips back toward the heels and make a circle with your hips. So maybe if you're circling, try each direction. It's always interesting to approach from the other way. And then let's come back to kneeling position on all fours. And we're going to make our way to a standing forward bend. And I know that you all have different ways of getting there. So you can either come from a squat, or you can step your feet under you, or walk forward from downward dog. Whatever works for you. You want to end up forward bend with your knees a little bit bent. If you have high blood pressure or other head pressure issues, you're going to bring your head up so it's over your heart. Otherwise, if it's comfortable, you can let your body be a little more forward, knees bent. So you want to feel your chest moving toward your thighs, head toward the ground. Again, just make sure you're not feeling any pressure in your head. And then from here, bringing the hands onto the knees, I'm going to lift to straight arms. So hands stay on the knees, arms can come straight-ish. So a little bend is fine. Keep the shoulders back. And let's do that same movement here that we did on all fours. So there's a little lift now in the spine, or sorry, in the tail and the head, and then we'll round to lift the spine. So if you like, you can coordinate breathing. Inhale as you arch, shoulders move back, chest open. Exhale, softening the back, rounding the back, tucking the chin in. Good, and then you can roll right upright at some point, drawing the shoulders back. And let's lift and roll the shoulders back a few times. And if you like, and this is one of my favorites, is to take the feet a little wider and roll the shoulders independently. So alternating and then letting the whole body kind of sway and swing. Gentle with the head, so you don't want to fling it around ever. But you can let the head gently move as well if that feels good. You can also rotate the opposite way. So if you're going back, go forward and vice versa. Right, and then coming to mountain pose. So let's come back to that grounding. Felt sense, feeling the earth beneath your toes or the mat or the ground, whatever is beneath your toes. And then letting just slightly more weight come into your heels. Dropping the shoulders as you lift the heart. And feeling the crown of the head lift toward the ceiling. So we're going to come back to those three sounds, ah, oo, and doing them separately. So you can watch the first time. So it'll be lifting the arms, and then as the arms come down, we'll make the sound ah. So ah, good. And then out to the sides, crossing over, ooh, coming in, lifting up again, and then as we come to a forward bend. Okay, so it'll be ah, ooh, and then forward. Okay, so arms reaching up, breathing in. So ah is the first sound. Ah. Remember, if you run out of breath before I do, don't hold your breath, just breathe, take extra breaths, okay? And then to the side. Reaching up and forward bend. Is the sound. So coming up, ah as you lower the arms. Ah. To the side, and then ooh. Forward. One more round. So ah as you lower the arms. Ah. And then ooh as you cross. And then as you go forward. If you like, you can stay in the forward bend again for a few breaths. You might bring your elbows up onto your thighs if you like, or cross your arms, or whatever is comfortable for you. You can always come upright anytime that you're ready. And then eventually you'll take the arms to the sides, coming up, breathing in as you lift, and releasing the arms to the sides. You can exhale as you let them go. Great. So let's take a moment after doing that little series with the breath, the movement, the sounding. Just pause for a moment and notice again. So you might feel that vibration in your body. You might feel more grounded or more expansive. Maybe you feel agitated. And if that's how you feel, please notice that without judgment. Right? So our goal is to create pathways to more calm and more ease and more peace, but sometimes there's agitation along the way. And that's okay as we shake things up. So if you feel agitated at any point, you can always shift what you're doing, or just notice the agitation and see what happens if you stay with it a little while. So noticing what's present. All right. So if your eyes have been closed, you might want to open them as we work a little bit with balance. And balance not on one foot, but on both feet, but moving the weight from the whole foot to the balls of the feet. So you can rock forward now and lift up the heels. And then as you bring the heels down, soften the knees, kind of half squat into it. And then lift again. And lower. And squat. It's not really a squat, just kind of bend the knees, just release any tension in the ankles, knees, hips. And if you feel wobbly in this, you're not alone. If you can't see others practicing at home, but this one is so much more challenging than it actually looks. Great. So let's come back onto the whole feet, both feet. And we're going to take a step forward or a step back. It doesn't actually matter, but we're going to have 1 foot forward and 1 foot back. And you want to have both feet on parallel tracks. So they are side by side, not in front of one another. And unlike when we do warrior pose, we're not turning the back foot out, but keeping the back foot in the same alignment as the front foot. So how far apart you have your feet kind of depends. So if you have to lift up your back heel to be here, bring your foot a little more forward so that both heels can be on the ground. So you can feel really grounded through both heels. If your calves are flexible enough that you can be a little further apart with both heels down, great, that's fine. And then you can start to bend the front knee until you feel some stretch in the back calf. If you don't feel stretch, move back a little more. If your heel starts to pop up, then you may want to bring your feet a little bit closer. And bring your hands to your hips. Hips point in the same direction as your feet. Right, so the back foot is the same orientation as your front foot. And then we're going to press down into the heel, squeeze down into that leg, and then press into the toes, lifting the heel. And then press down and lift. So your calf is getting a bit of a workout. It's a bit of a stretch for the front part of the back hip, and then of course a little bit of a workout on the front thigh. And the further your feet are apart, the more work it is on all of those areas. So you get to decide for you. We're going to add one more element in here if you're still with me. So the arm that corresponds to the leg that's back. So it's your left arm, left leg. You're going to come up onto your toes, lift your arm, and then lower the arm, lower the heel. Your other hand could be on a chair, could be on the wall if need be. If you struggle to find balance here, it is a bit challenging. Good, so next time you come down, if you're still wanting a bit more stretch in that calf in the back, you can bring your hands onto your front knee. Keep pressing that back heel down. Great. And then releasing to step your feet back together. Pause for a moment in mountain pose. And notice, how does one side feel? Maybe one hip and leg versus the other. What are you aware of? And there's no right or wrong answer, as always. Right? Does one side feel more grounded? Do you have more sensation in one side or the other? Is it different from before? So it's really a matter of inquiry to be present, to notice. We'll do the other side now. So again, stepping forward or stepping back so that the feet are a comfortable distance, and you want to make sure your back heel can always be on the ground with your legs straight and both feet pointing forward. So that's, once that heel starts to lift, then you've gone too far. Your hips are facing towards the direction of your toes. Front knee bending, so it's more or less over the ankle. It could be a little straighter, it doesn't matter, whatever's comfortable. You just don't want that leg locked, and you also don't want to be bent way over your foot, which puts a lot of strain on your knee. So from here, you can start to slowly lift up onto the toes of the back foot. Press down into the heel. Slowly lift. Press down. Take your time. So we're strengthening and stretching calf muscles. Also working to lengthen the front of the hip. A little bit of work for this front leg that's staying bent and holding your weight. And then again, if you want more, you can lower the arm. That's the same side as the leg that's back. As you lift, lift the arm. And as you lower, lower the arm. If you want to also coordinate your breath here, it's possible. Inhale as you lift up. Exhale as you come down. If your legs are burning and you need to come out of this pose, you just go right ahead anytime. If you can stay with it a little more, right? We get stronger not by running away when we feel challenged, but by leaning in just a little bit. Great, and this time, if you're still with me, pressing the heel down, maybe seeing how it would feel to bring your hands onto your front knee. This might look quite different in your body. Please know that all bodies are different, right? Sometimes it's a matter of tweaking alignment, but often it's a matter of, my body doesn't do that. My body does it this way. And often, as long as we're not contorting, our bodies in ways that are damaging to us, the details are not always so crucial. But let's step forward or step back, bringing the feet underneath the hips. Checking in, noticing, how does one side feel now versus the other side? Is there a difference? What are you aware of? Okay, so let's bend and straighten the knees, ankles, and hips a few times by flexing. All right. So we're going to come back into a forward bend, and then make our way back to the ground and come to lie down in a moment. So if there is a way for you to get there that's easier for you than what I suggest, please help yourself. We're going to end up eventually lying down. If you want to follow me, we'll be going from forward bend, either to all fours or to downward dog, and then to lie down. So you choose your adventure. So if you're on your own, away you go. I'll see you there. And if you're with me, we're going to inhale and lift. And come forward with an exhale. And you're bending your knees, walk the hands forward. You can either tuck your knees under you at this point to come to all fours, or you can walk your feet, step them back to downward dog if that's a pose that feels good for you. You might walk your feet in place here. After all that calf stretching, maybe noticing how your calves feel in this pose now. And then whenever you're ready, if you're in downward dog, you can lower the knees to come to all fours. And then if child's pose is a happy place for you, you might rest in child's pose for a few breaths. If child's pose isn't your happiest place, it can be a lot of pressure on the knees and ankles. You can do the exact same kind of position lying on your back without the pressure on your knees and ankles. So you just come into a little ball. You can clasp your hands maybe behind or over your knees, or simply hold your knees either behind or above, or even rest your elbows on the ground and just let the hands rest on the sides of your legs. So child's pose, or this is called little boat pose. Breathing, softening. And then when you're ready, we'll all eventually make our way to lying down with the feet on the ground. So if you've been in child's pose, take your time. You come to lie on your back, and you can then bring your hands to rest, one on the rib cage, either lower or somewhere around the heart, wherever it's comfortable for you. I find lower is comfortable for me because my elbows can then just rest on the ground, and it's quite comfortable. So we'll tune back into the breath once you get into this position. Hands resting on the body, somewhere on the torso where it's comfortable for you. Tuning into your exhalation, which is what we've been focusing on through the whole class. So not only does chanting benefit us with that vagal toning, with the vocal cord vibration, but it also, honestly, I've lost my train of thought. So just stay with this, stay with yourself and come back to your breath. That's what I was going to say, exactly that. It also helps us to make our exhale longer. So when we're making sound, we're generally making the exhale longer. So we're vibrating the vocal cords, getting that vocal tone, and longer exhale, also sending the message to the brain that all is well. So you can keep your hands on your body just as you are, or if you like, you can let the arms go out to the sides on the ground, and you'll bring the feet in about hip distance apart, getting ready to twist. So we're going to gently move the knees side to side, listening to your body as to how far you go to each side. So hands on the body or hands on the ground, and we're going to come back to that humming breath. So lips are closed, on your exhalation, making the humming sound. So here we're inhaling in the center. You're humming as you go to the side with your knees. Inhale back to center. Again, humming as you go to the other side. And always this sounding is suggestive, right? If it doesn't feel right for you, then just feel free to breathe. Continue at your own pace, humming if you like, just breathing if you prefer, or if you like the other sounds, ah or ooh better, you could choose one of those. Okay, let's eventually come back to the center. And then bring your knees up in toward your body and place one hand on each knee. So your fingertips are pointing toward your toes, arms straight. Relax your jaw, relax your face. Take a breath in here, and as you exhale, you bend your elbows, even if it's just a tiny bit, letting the knees come in toward your body. This can be done one leg at a time. For some people, that's more comfortable. And then moving the knees away. So we're drawing in, toward, and moving away. Option to coordinate the breath. So you'd inhale, knees away, exhale, knees in. And of course, further option to add a very gentle, soft humming sound to your exhale. You can stay and hug your knees or rock side to side or circle your knees. And then when you feel complete with that, let your feet come back down to the ground and line your feet up underneath your knees now. So your heels are under your knees. Heels are about hip width apart. So knees are also about hip width apart. Hips are the bones in the front, not the outside of your hips, but where the actual skeleton is. You can maybe feel those bones in the front. Knees line up there, feet on the ground. This is roughly lining up with your sit bones at the bottom of your pelvis. And then from here, arms a little bit away from the body, palms, if it's comfortable, can face the ceiling, so the shoulders just stay nice and relaxed. And then pressing down into your feet, draw the chin slightly in toward your chest. And then if it feels okay for you, you can start to slowly lift the hips up. So lifting the hips even just an inch off the ground, or you could bring your hips up higher so that the knees, hips, and shoulders are in a line. And then releasing to lower down. So you can lift and lower slowly like that, really taking your time. Your body may only want to lift a little. Your body may not want to lift at all. You may just want to think about lifting by pressing down into your feet and letting the tailbone curl up and then release. So tune into what would feel best for your body. Maybe just lift the tailbone, maybe lift the hips, maybe lift more of the spine. Relax your face, your jaw, your neck. And next time you come down, stay there. And then again, if you like, you can bring your knees up into your chest and either repeat the movement we did forward and back, or you can rock a little side to side or circle your knees around. And then bringing the feet to the floor, rest here for a moment. You can bring the hands back onto the body, tune back into the breath. And so we're going to start to move into Shavasana now. So if you want to stay in this position, you're more than welcome. If you want to adjust and maybe get some props or a blanket, please do. And if you prefer to sit, you can certainly always take that option. So take your time, take as much time as you need to get yourselves organized. Then as you start to settle for Shavasana, whether you're sitting or lying down, bring your awareness to your throat. Deep inside your throat, where the vocal cords vibrate, where the air moves through to make sound. And you can tell where this spot is because if you whisper or make the sound, you'll feel this air moving through a small opening just in the back of the throat. So even if you can't tell exactly where your vocal cords are, you're going to soften into your throat. So relax that whole area. If you imagine your vocal cords like two long elastics, flat elastics, or like the exercise bands, there's no tension on them now. They're completely relaxed, soft, at rest. And as you relax deep in the pit of your throat, feel your jaw soften and the muscles that hold your jaw release. And as you release your jaw even more, see if you can relax deep down into the throat even more. Relax all the muscles of your face now, all around your mouth, your cheekbones, your eyes, your forehead. Feel the weight of your head either over your shoulders if you're sitting or on the ground if you're lying. And as you let the weight of your head be supported by the ground or by your spine, feel your neck muscles relax, the outer part of your neck and throat, softening all around your neck, front, sides, back of your neck, base of your skull releasing. Notice if you're holding your teeth together, let your teeth come apart, top, bottom, Surfaces of your teeth releasing. So the jaw is even more relaxed. The base of the skull releasing. The back of the neck and the shoulders letting go. Feel your collarbones widen across the front of your chest. Your shoulders drop even more and your arms release. Your hands release. Drop down through the ribs, through the belly, the lower back. Softening down into the pelvis. Feel your thighs release.